Have I mentioned that Joe is a murderer and he should not be trusted? Have I mentioned that?
It's pretty common for people to hate their jobs, but did you know that these actors playing some of our most beloved characters in pop culture, Hawkeye, James Bond, and Serena van der Woodsen, absolutely hated them?
I have no idea what the film is going to look like in the Marvel Universe. I have zero clue.
Number 1. This one doesn't surprise us too much. We're actually pretty glad Penn Badgley isn't a fan of Hughes Joe Goldberg, though he plays the role to perfection. The writers tried to write Joe as someone audiences would somewhat relate to, and in turn feel conflicted about, but overall, Joe has done some pretty gnarly things throughout the show's running.
Okay, now don't look so scared. Take a breath.
Penn Badgley thinks Joe shouldn't be empathized with, as he's capable of a lot of dark things. What he does is he takes the tropes that we've seen in romantic comedies, and it totally subverts them by actually following them closely. And he comes to this really kind of terrifying conclusion. Number 2. Sean Connery wasn't the only actor who hated playing James Bond. When Daniel Craig took over for Pierce Brosnan, people were wondering whether he could pull off the role or not, but after 4 consecutive hits, nobody wondered anymore. Even though the films were a huge success, amassing over $800 million in the box office, Daniel Craig is not interested in stepping back into those shoes again. I'm over it at the moment. We're done. All I want to do is move on. If I did another Bond movie, it would only be for the money. Number 3. We're talking about her role as Harley Quinn.
Something tells me a whole lot of people are about to die.
Margot Robbie first landed the role in the 2016 film Suicide Squad, and continued on to film Birds of Prey in 2020. Despite Margot's incredible performance in both films, it's hard to please die-hard comic book fans. She received tons of criticism for her portrayal of the iconic character, and she would often have moments of panic on set because of it. I'm like, oh god, they're gonna hate it. There are just so many people to please, and you can't ever make everyone happy. Number 4. Kirsten Dunst had a lot of issues filling the big shoes of Mary Jane Watson. The production team really wanted her to do some things that she was pretty uncomfortable with, even to the point of trying to coerce her to change her teeth. They really pushed for her to do this bungee jumping scene. She even tried it once. It didn't go well.
I was like, you should have shot that because I'm never doing that again. I was like, that's never happening. I was terrified.
Overall, it seems like they demanded a lot from her and she just wasn't with it. One of the producers tried to subtly coerce me into changing my teeth into those perfect Barbie doll teeth. I was like, nope, I'm not doing that either. Number 5. Jeremy Renner was absolutely fed up with Hawkeye. When he originally signed on, he thought he was going to get to dig deep into the complexity of the character, but he found the journey to be pretty underwhelming. He was even at the point where he was asking for the character to be written off. He attributed his performance to that of a mindless zombie. There's not a lot of backstory or understanding we can really tell about who Clint Barton is, or Hawkeye, and is he working for S.H.I.E.L.D. or not? There's a lot of unanswered questions, even for me. Number 6. This list wouldn't be complete without talking about Edward Cullen. Everyone knows Robbert Pattinson isn't a fan of the sparkly vampire, though his performance definitely made an impact on pop culture. He couldn't even sit through the premiere. He ran out of the theater saying he just couldn't handle it. He said so many negative things about the franchise, we couldn't possibly list them all.
There's a lot of stuff in the Twilight world that doesn't make any sense.
When an interviewer asked him if he had taken anything from the set of the last movie, his response was, my dignity. Number 7. Everyone's favorite Upper East Sider, Serena van der Woodsen. Though, ironically, Blake Lively wouldn't consider herself a Serena fan. She struggled with playing the role sometimes. Due to the questionable decisions Serena would make, people loved it, but it always felt a little personally compromising. You want to be putting a better message out there. The taxing role might have also contributed to the 3-year hiatus she took from acting right afterwards. She ended up launching a lifestyle website and spending time with her family, only to pick up acting again in 2015 with Age of Adeline. Number 8. We're talking about her character Marnie Michaels from the HBO series Girls. Allison Williams was not a fan of Marnie and all of the questionable decisions she made throughout the show's run. She finds her completely unrelatable and, most of the time, pretty annoying. Marnie would drive me crazy if we were friends in real life, but I have to put that out of my head in order to play her. Number 9. We weren't too surprised to find out Miley Cyrus didn't love her alter ego Hannah Montana. Miley fans know just how hard she worked to separate herself from the Disney icon. She says that working on the set gave her unrealistic expectations of beauty and played a hand in the inevitable body dysmorphia she struggled with. I had been made pretty every day for so long, and then when I wasn't on that show, it was like, who am I? Number 10. Macauly Culkin is not a fan of Kevin McAllister, or his iconic Home Alone face. He still, to this day, gets stopped on the street by fans asking him to do the face. Considering he was 9 years old when he filmed the movie, it's no surprise that he's not amused. He explains, "I can't watch it the same way other people do," and when people ask to watch the movie with him, he describes it as flattering and creepy. Number 11. Probably one of the only people who hated Han Solo. Harrison Ford literally begged the creator George Lucas to end his character after the third film because he was fed up with playing him and thought it would give him some depth. I did think the character itself was relatively thin. I would have liked to see some complication for the character. The only reason he kept coming back was because of how successful Star Wars was.
So I was happy to come back and play Han Solo again and again, but that was enough.
Number 12. Jason played Marshall Erickson on How I Met Your Mother for 8 years. That was part of the problem. Though Jason Segel is an incredible comedic actor, he was getting tired of Marshall's world. He thought the jokes were getting stale and the storylines were getting predictable. Also, playing the same character for so long started to weigh on his confidence in playing other roles. I didn't know if I was a good enough actor to do it, and I kind of walked through the "are you a con man in this business" kind of fear. Number 13. Sarah Michelle Gellar hated playing Buffy in the show's 6th season. Real Buffy fans know that's when the show took a majorly dark turn. Sarah Michelle Gellar agrees. Buffy engages in a questionable relationship with the soulless vampire Spike that inevitably takes a turn into abusive territory. Gellar, who arguably knows Buffy better than anyone, didn't agree with her actions that season. I've always said that season 6 was not my favorite. I felt it betrayed who she was. Number 14. This 2.5 Men star wasn't always a fan of Jake Harper, particularly after joining a Seventh-day Adventist church and converting to that religion. He couldn't find it in him to continue to support the show. He made a pretty bold statement to People magazine. "I'm on 2.5 Men, and I don't want to be on it. Please stop watching it. Please stop filling your head with filth." Number 15. Katherine Heigl starred in one of the most successful, longest-running TV shows, Grey's Anatomy. Though she won a Primetime Emmy in 2007 for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, she still worked very hard to separate herself from her character Izzy and the show as a whole. She even went as far as to refuse her work for consideration of another award the following year. She didn't think the material she had to work with deserved an award. Unsurprisingly, in 2010, she ended up leaving the show after a lot of speculation around the topic. That same year, she told USA Today, "I felt she was an admirable woman who certainly made mistakes, but I was starting to not like her and that bothered me." Do you have any idea how much these actors hated their own characters? We can definitely understand why for many of them. Which character on this list is your favorite?